Here we're going to look specifically at base E functions. So base E is that funny little E on your calculator. Depending on the calculator you have is going to depend on where your base E is. Okay, if you look at mine, I actually have two of them here. Both of these are scientific. And so if you look at both of these, notice, whew, that glare. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to kind of put them together. So if you can see on this first one, this is a TI-36X Pro, and notice this button right here has an E to the little box. And so if you can see, there you go, right here, this button here, E to the box. And so when I push that button, notice I get this little E in my window, and it's giving me a power. And so what you would do is you would input your power and hit enter. So if I wanted to know, say, E to the 8th, I would do that, hit enter, and notice it gives me a decimal, and most of the time you would round that decimal either to 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 decimal places. Okay. Now in this other calculator, forgive the glare, okay, so this one's slightly different. Notice here I have this E to the X button that lives above the natural log button. So to get to this one, I have to hit this blue second button here in order to get E to the X. So if I turn this calculator on, okay, like that, and so you can see the first thing I would have to do is hit the second. So I would hit second, and then I would hit the natural log, and notice here I get that E to the power, so the little caret means power, and it opens a parenthesis. So again, I would do the same thing if I wanted to take it to the 8th. You close your parenthesis and hit enter, and here what you can see on both calculators is you get the same value. So this is the E function that you would use, and you'll need your scientific calculator in order to do that. Now you would use this button when graphing or trying to solve problems. So I want to go ahead and take a look here. So we can evaluate, and so what you would simply do here is the same thing I just did. You would hit E to the 4. So I'll go ahead, we'll bring this one back. And so I want E to the 4, so I'm going to hit my E button. Okay, so it says E to the power. I'm going to type in a 4 and hit enter, and it gives me this big long decimal. And so here I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use just 3 of them, and so I'm going to be able to state that E to the 4th is going to be 54.598. Okay. Now the same idea occurs when we use a negative, and so here I could hit E to the, and I want negative 2.458, and then I'd hit enter, and that gives me a value. And so here in this case I'm going to go ahead and round out 4 places, so this would be 0.0856. Okay. And so that's really all there is to using a calculator. Now the same thing would happen if we were trying to graph. So notice here I've already actually graphed it for you just so you can see it. But you would go ahead and create that same XY table. So we would create XY, and this time it's E to the X. And just like before, we could do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And because we're trying to graph, in this case, the easiest thing to do is we want to round to the tenths. Okay? And so here, you would just simply plug and chug. And so, just like before, let me move this out of the way a little. Alright, so we can do E to the -2 and hit enter. And so here we would say that this is 0.1. Now we could do E to the -1, and this would be 0.4. Then we can do E to the 0 and hit enter, and notice you get 1. then we would have e to the first is going to give you 2.7, and then e to the second is going to give me 7.4. And so that's what you would go ahead and go in and graph. And so you can see I've already done just that. I've graphed these points and drawn it through. And so because this is considered to be a number greater than a fraction, you have the increasing, ever increasing of your e-graph. So that's really all there is to working with e. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I do hope you enjoyed this short video, and I'll see you next time.